Hey guys, this is Ray, owner of Double R Diesel and also DRP Motorsports. I want to welcome you back to my channel and my shop. Today I'm doing a video in follow-up to a video that I did a couple of weeks ago, and that video was discussing the title of it, Can We Now Legally Delete Our Diesel Vehicles? And that view got a lot of hits. I was quite surprised. I think last count I looked, it was over 116,000, which is quite a bit for somebody like me. So I thought it would just be good to do a follow-up video to talk about the same topic again, where we're at a couple of weeks later, and also tell you a little bit about myself since I've gotten so many comments and suggestions and questions and so on and so forth. So first of all, I am not a professional YouTuber. I'm just a average guy that's trying to run a couple of businesses. It's just me, my wife, and my son. It's a family business, and we're just trying to make an honest living, not getting rich. In times past when I was doing other things and I was facilitating people deleting trucks, I did handle a lot of money, but I didn't actually keep a lot of money, and you can see the proof in that a little later on. But regardless, I just wanted to show you and tell you a little bit about myself to begin with. So, this is my shop. Um, this is my diesel truck. It's a 2013 Ram 2500. It's got 147,000 miles. It's a 2013 model. It's not brand new. It's what I can afford. It serves me well personally and business wise. And you'll see more on this truck later as we do content on it, of course. A lot of my vehicle purchases are for business purposes, but I also have to do it within my means. Um, look around in here. So um, this is the inside of my shop. I've got a Mustang over here on this lift. There is a very nice Shelby F-150 right here. Neither of these Ford vehicles are mine. They are customers of mine, and they're part of my gasoline tuning business, which is DRP Motorsports. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick plug about DRP Motorsports. If you got a Ford vehicle, EcoBoost, Coyote powered, that kind of thing, I tune those. I do quite a few of those. Um, it is putting food on my table because I can't do that much with diesels anymore. I'm still tuning diesel trucks. Still do a few sales every now and then with tunes, but they are emissions compliant. I'm not doing any delete tunes anymore. I can't. As you know, I had a run-in with the Environmental Protection Agency, and for right now, that's over with. And that brings me back to the point of doing this video. And can we legally delete our diesel vehicles now? 2 weeks later since I've done the last video? No, it's still not legal. Um, I wanted to allude to another YouTuber's channel who I've come to know in the past couple of weeks, TK's Garage. He is a pretty good dude. I've had some personal contact with him, and it's I get where he's coming from. I like his enthusiasm, especially talking about things pertaining to automotive industry and the EPA. So I appreciate that. And guys, forgive me. Let me just go ahead and tell you, I'm not an eloquent speaker. I can't remember everything. I've got a little cheat sheet in front of me of some things that I want to discuss in this video. But I've told you a little bit about who I am. And like I said, I'm just a mom and pop small business. I've got DRD, Double R Diesel, DRP Motorsports, which is the gasoline side of things. But um, going back to the video that I did a couple of weeks ago, got a lot of comments. I mean, a lot of comments. And some of them were very good comments, legitimate comments. And of course, I got some comments that weren't so nice. And I mean, that's just part of the game. But anyway, I had some people ask me some specific things about the EPA in my EPA case and why I'm not still trying to fight the EPA and bring things to light. Well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. So I'm not made of money. So if you're going to challenge the EPA, if you're going to try to fight a case that the EPA's brought against you, you got to have money to afford a legal team. And when the EPA investigated double R diesel, I couldn't afford. I'm just be honest with you. I couldn't afford a lawyer that would even, it takes a special kind of lawyer to want to do any kind of work for you with regards to the Environmental Protection Agency, and I just couldn't afford those type of lawyers. So I'm a very religious person. I'm a Christian, and I let God be my lawyer. I just put my trust and faith in God, and my faith and my belief in Jesus Christ, and all of that is what got me through the whole investigation process and allowed me to get through it relatively unscathed. But going back to that, I didn't have a lot of money. Still don't have a lot of money. Have even less. But that's the whole thing. Somebody asked me, says, "Why didn't you fight the EPA?" Well, I couldn't afford it. So I had to go along with them. I didn't retain a lawyer. I give them the information that they asked for. And that brings me to another question. Somebody was asking me, about personal information being given to the EPA. No, I didn't. And the EPA is not concerned about who deleted their trucks. What the EPA is concerned about is a shop and how much they sell, and by basically it's a weighted thing. They want to go after a target where they can get the most money. Okay, that's what they're after, is money. In my opinion, there is a clean air aspect of it that they're wearing in their back pocket as reason for doing it. But really and truly, the way I see things, it's all about money. So when they go after targets, they're looking for the targets that can get them money the easiest, because their resources are limited. And obviously now, to hear what TK's had to say and what I've heard myself, their resources are even much more limited. But that brings me to the point. When they investigated me, they wanted to know not who I sold it to, but how many products I sold. And basically, how they work a case is, for somebody like me that sold defeat devices, and a defeat device can be anything. It can be an exhaust system. It can be a tune. It can be a tuner. It can be any EGR delete kit. It can be anything related to doing a deletion on the emission systems on any vehicle, whether it's gasoline or diesel. So, they got me for multiple defeat devices on one sale, one vehicle. One vehicle might have several quote unquote defeat devices, the way the EPA defines it, and they can fine you up to a maximum fine of $5,761. That is what was written in my case, per defeat device. So they got a total number of defeat devices that I supplied them information. They determined how many defeat devices that I sold. And then they hit me with an astronomical number when it come time to my settlement hearing. And it was like originally $24 million. Okay. I can't in 10 lifetimes afford to pay a $24 million fine. And they know that. That's how they work their system. So I said, I can't pay it. What do I do? And here's what they do. So they say, okay, we understand that. We anticipate that. So what you can do is file an ability to pay claim. And an ability to pay claim gives them the legal standing to look at your assets as a business. Beforehand, they have no right to see all your assets, what you're really worth. But when you say you can't pay them and they give you an opportunity to file an ability to pay claim, then they'll say, okay, we'll work with you, but you got to show us all your assets. So at that point, they looked at my tax returns, my bank accounts, my business assets, all of that stuff. And they've got a mathematical formula. So after they get all that information, they've got a mathematical formula that will say, okay, he can pay this much money, but it's not going to put him in the poorhouse. He's going to still have a place to live. He's still going to have a place to work. He's still going to have a job, but he's going to hurt, but he can pay that. And that's what they did in my case. And you can look on the EPA's website, Google search double R diesel EPA, and you can find my consent agreement final order. It's commonly called a CAFO or a CAFO. And in that, you'll see the case they laid out in front of me. You'll see how many defeat devices they say I sold in a period of time. And then you'll see what I settled for. And I actually settled for less than $10,000. $10,000 is not a drop in the bucket to some businesses, but it was a big drop in the bucket for me. And not only besides paying that $10,000 fine, I signed paperwork saying that I could no longer sell anything related to diesel emissions defeat devices whatsoever. So that was a big hurt. It took away probably 95% of my business. Looking at it right now, I mean, I talk to a lot of people when it comes to diesel tuning. A lot of people do contact me, but 95% of them still want to delete their truck. And when I tell them that I can't, well, guess what? They move on. Okay. They can still get what they want out of Canada, out of China. It's still coming in. I mean, from my perspective, if the Environmental Protection Agency wanted to stop diesel defeat emissions, that kind of stuff, then, they're not doing it because people still doing it. And I don't blame them for doing it. Don't get me wrong. Let me back up a second. I want clean air. I want clean water. But at the same time, I understand why people have a legitimate need to want or delete their truck because diesel emissions, maintaining those systems is burdensome and very expensive and just too much for, a lot of people. And my whole argument in the prior video was that could we have some middle ground so that we could legally delete the emissions off a diesel vehicle once it reached a useful life on those emission systems, 5 years, 100,000 miles, something like that, at the point when those systems have to be replaced and it's no longer covered under warranty and a consumer is faced with, a tremendous bill from a dealership or a repair shop like mine, then, give them the option to do something that's going to be more economical. Spend $1,500, $2,000 to do a delete setup on it versus $5,000 to $10,000 to replace all your emission components, your EGR, your DPF, your DOC, your SER, all that stuff. The price can go way through the roof, like I mentioned in the last video. But that's the whole thing with the EPA. That's the whole thing with the case. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is the actual agreement that I signed. And it's a follow up to what TK's been talking about, how possibly we may be able to get our money back from the government, us guys like me who got fined because of investigation. But let me come in my office here. I want to show you something. And I'm nothing special. You see, I got a junky place, but it works. I wanted to show you my consent agreement final order, my CAFO. This is the legal document that is public record that you can go on the EPA's website and find and see. And this is line 40, the terms of agreement. And look what it says right here. All right, for the purpose of this proceeding, talking about me and the EPA, I admit that the EPA has jurisdiction over this matter. It admits the stipulated facts stated above, which is the case that they presented against me. Neither admits or denies alleged violations of the law stated above. Consents of the assessed civil penalty, which I had to pay, which was a little less than $10,000. Consents to the conditions specified in this CAFO. Here's the big one. Waives any right to contest alleged violations of law, waives its rights to appeal the CAFO. And then 41 goes on and even more specifics about that. So basically, the whole thing about that is when I signed that, the way it's written, and I didn't have no choice. I couldn't fight it. But that basically says I can't go back against the EPA and against what they have already levied on me and try to get, contest it, get my money back. So it's going to be really interesting to see if the new EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin, the Trump administration, and the Republican-led Congress and Senate can do anything that might allow me to, get my money back, or better yet, what I want to see is some sort of middle ground so that we could delete higher mileage vehicles in some situation. Um, and that brings me to another point that I wanted to mention here. TK has mentioned that enforcement is the key. Yes, the Clean Air Act is still there, what TK says, and he's right. The Clean Air Act is law and it's still there and it hasn't changed. It hasn't been amended. But what TK is saying is enforcement may not be there no more. And that could very well be the case with the cuts to the EPA. But for somebody like me, in any other legitimate shop that has been through this investigation process, who have been fined either civilly or been charged criminally, they don't want to go back and test the waters again, not knowing whether it's truly all right to do. So, for me and many others, what I'm trying to say, unless something is amended in the Clean Air Act, or something is posted somewhere in the CFR that says that we can go back to deleting trucks in certain situations again, I'm not comfortable doing it, and so is anybody else that's legitimate. Okay, so that's the whole point. For us shops who are under the microscope, have been or could be in the future, we want to see something that's written in concrete that would make us feel more inclined to do that again. Just going under the assumption that it's not going to be enforced is not good enough for most guys like me. Now, for you as the consumer, you've never really had nothing to worry about. I'll be honest with you. Even the past 4 years under the Joe Biden administration, they didn't really. I'm not aware of them going in after any consumers. Period. They've only went after shops. So you as a consumer have really had nothing to worry about, and probably definitely don't have anything to worry about moving forward. But it's guys like us that run shops that have everything to worry about. And that's the whole point of this video. I hope things are going to change. TK has brought up a lot of good valid points, and I've discussed a few things with him, and there could be some more things coming down the road that might actually benefit and help guys like us, but it's not here or there yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what may or may not happen. But in the meantime, can we legally delete our diesel vehicles? No, we can't. Can you do it and get away with it as a consumer? Yeah, probably so. Can we as shop owners take a chance, or should we, or are we going to take a chance and start back doing it again? No, not without some stuff spelled out in black and white. Anyways, guys, that's all I'm going to do for right now. As always, I appreciate you following along. I appreciate the new subscribers. I appreciate, the guys that understand the situation, that bring up valid points, good comments, good discussion. I appreciate all of that. And like I said, I'm not a YouTuber. I've got YouTube channels to try to show off what I do for a living to attract more customers. That's the whole point of my YouTube channel. But as always, guys, thank you for following along. God bless each and every one of you. And I'll see you again soon.